Hello and welcome to Survivor Showdown. We're back with episode 2. This is the show where we have 3 panelists going head-to-head with 5 different topics all about Survivor, trying to determine who has the best answer and who can defend it the best. So we have 3 brand new panelists with us today. First we have Heather Nicole Smith. We also have Josh Leamer. And we have Tyler Kakuno.
Hi.
So, these 3 are going to be battling out in 5 separate questions all about Survivor. Tyler said before we went on that he's only seen Samoa and Onward, so this may be a little sketchy for him. But
I've only seen the real Survivor, David.
Our fact checker was not able to be here today, so do your best and don't give me any fake facts, all right? I won't stand for it. I'm looking at you, Tyler. Russell Hantz is not the greatest player of all time.
Hey,
that is
no
how
dare you! America should vote!
All right, so let's get started with our first question then. Our first question is, which Survivor has the best story arc from the first 4 seasons of Survivor? So we're going to go with opening statements, and we're going to start with Heather. Who has the best story arc in the first 4 seasons of Survivor?
Well, a lot of them do, but if you're asking me to choose one person from the best 4 seasons, according to most of the people on the internet that I've talked to, and that if you tell them otherwise, they would probably find you and kill you, I will have to go with Tina Wesson has the best story arc. Well, because I adore Survivor Australia, and it was one of my favorite seasons that I enjoyed watching. I got it for a Christmas present, and just all the stuff that she had to pull in the beginning with Mitchell Boot and how she cut Mad Dog's throat. That was amazing. That was really amazing. I'm just talking until you tell me to stop.
I think you can just stop whenever you want.
Okay.
All
I'll
right,
stop there.
let's move on with Josh.
Because I can talk all night.
All right. The greatest single-season storyline in the first 4 seasons is Kathy Vavrick O'Brien. In the first few episodes, she starts off, she's like the crazy lady. Clearly, if Rotu is going to, the next TC, she's going to be the one gone. And that was everyone's impression watching. It was like, oh, can you believe this, crazy lady who's acting weird, and Gabriel has to talk to her about how to behave, and, you're just like, she's gone. And then, throughout the course of the season, she becomes the hero of the story. It's a remarkable transformation, and the season really becomes her story as she evolves from this position where you never envision that she could turn things around so much. She takes control of the game with the flip and the John boot. She has all these confessionals talking about what her strategy is and her attempts, and she really becomes a great player of Survivor, and she really fits in, only to have that tragic hero downfall after we've all been rooting for her, and we're so great. It's a classic tragic hero storyline. It's an unbelievable one, and Marquesas is her story more than any of the other 4 seasons or any one individual story. And that's why I think it's the greatest story arc.
All right, let's move on to Tyler.
All right. So now look at the question of the first 4 seasons of Survivor. Now, what does it mean to play Survivor? Now, I don't think that necessarily means it starts at season 1. I think the first season of Survivor was Survivor Samoa, and Russell Hantz has the... I'm just kidding. Okay, no, in all seriousness, though, I think go back to season 1, I think easily, hands down, even out of all the seasons, Rudy Bosch has the best storyline than any other Survivor. Not just because of his story on the island of being the I'm pretty sure he's 71 when he played, 71-year-old retired Navy SEAL, having to fit in with Generation X, all these young people, being the outsider, not even knowing what MTV is. It goes deeper than that. Rudy comes from a time when homophobia was the norm, not liking gay people just because they were gay. In preseason interviews, He even said she would vote somebody out, even if they were gay. Yet, we go on to Survivor. His best friend and best ally, being Richard Hatch, is a gay man. And by the end of the season, he is the swing vote that rewards Richard Hatch, the gay man, who he said he would vote out just because a person was gay before the season to win $1 million. So I think it was a big step for society, too, because of Rudy Bosch's storyline and seeing how if you get along with somebody and the personal growth between is stronger than deep-rooted hatreds or phobias of any stereotypes there is.
All right, so we have Tina versus Kathy versus Rudy. We now enter the free-for-all. Why is yours better than the other two? Go.
Because mine won.
Oh, snap.
That doesn't make us.
That's a
Sorry,
bad argument.
because
No.
she is the friend.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if we're going to talk about because they won, it makes them better, let's look at a great movie, Saving Private Ryan. The main character is trying to save Private Ryan, who Tom Hanks' character, I don't remember his name. He had the best story out of anyone there, but he dies in the end. Spoiler alert. That doesn't mean his story is
Now I can never
crappier
see
than-
that movie.
Hey, if you haven't seen Saving Private Ryan by now, it is your own fault. Like, just because that person
That is
tragically
true.
dies in the end, like Kathy, or even Rudy, who is taken up by Kelly, doesn't make the story any less significant. In fact, sometimes when they die or lose, it makes it even better. So that's just
Like
my
this kid.
point to yours.
I completely agree.
Me too.
And that's what makes Kathy's, part of the best. And I think, in regards to Rudy, I think Rudy has a good story arc, but it doesn't necessarily define the season or drive the season the way that Kathy's does. And she is the star of the show. And Rudy is a great character, but I don't think he was driving the narrative, especially after episode 5 or so. And a lot of the stuff is in tandem. It's the story of Rich and Rudy together, whereas Kathy, carries the show as the star, and she doesn't rely on like a second person.
Yeah, I see. I think
Yeah,
that's a great point. But
Does.
I think you have to look back
I wrote
at
them.
what the first season of Survivor. Oh, you can say it first, Heather. It's okay. If you want to say something.
I don't think that she alone drives the narrative. I mean, I don't think anyone really does in the first 4 seasons. I think it's all a collective effort. Like you say that it was her that thought of like getting the Road to 4 or the John boot or something. I'm like, wasn't that more of a thought on Sean? Where he was this is how it's gonna go.
And if you're
Not
honestly
taking
gonna ask
away.
me, the most compelling and most
I do
interesting
love the story
storyline
arc, so this is
from
kinda
season
like,
4, I think, is the fall of the Road to 4. I think
too.
John and his own season and Kathy's own season has a better story than Kathy.
So I can't agree with that, because I think I think really she is the hero of the story, and of course Henry's story.
Well,
is
of
villain.
course she's the hero of the story, but you're forgetting that every good story doesn't just have a
I
hero.
keep
It has a
forgetting.
villain. And sometimes the
Yeah,
villain
but I
story
think-
is better.
People don't talk
To
about
most
Kathy's
people.
downfall. John's downfall is still talked about today. So if we're even talking their own season, John's is much more prevalent today than Kathy's.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, at the time, she was the,
At the
one of
time, but
absolute
which
breakout
story?
star, and
Which story
and now
holds overtime?
she is an integral part of it, and I think, she is, without her, none of the rest of that season works. If you go back, she has 77 confessionals. She is the story, especially in episode 7 and episode 8, which is when the John downfall happens. She is the one who has the most confessionals. Yeah, maybe it wasn't just her. Obviously, they needed more people than just her to vote John out. But the story is told from her perspective, and all of that and that strategy. I mean, and it's incredible that someone who did that started off as the crazy lady who's going to go next. And to evolve and change so much over the course of the season. She has by far more confessionals than anyone else. Episode 7 is entirely about her, and it's about her, and she's, they're all lying to me. She's talking with Boston Rob.
They're all
and-
lying to me.
Yeah.
They're all lying to me.
And then, like a badass, she goes in that immunity challenge. It comes down to her and John, and she wins. And it's just this, and at this point, all of us are all rooting for her. And Yeah, and that's what makes it a tragic hero story. It's fantastic, and in this case, it is not better than the the villain story is not better than that. I mean, John is it was interesting, but to say you're doing a major disservice to Kathy to say that that's his storyline is better is because it's just because we'd never seen it before, and she plays a huge role in it, and she is without if just a bunch of nobodies taking control of the game, it wouldn't work as well. I mean, Sean and V were very divisive figures, and Pascal and Uli, everyone was like, kind of like a second-rate Roger and Elizabeth. No one really cared about those four characters. The reason that moment worked was because the audience was invested in Kathy and wanted her success and couldn't believe this amazing progress in storyline that works. And I think
a bunch of nobodies going on to overthrow the tyrannical power of the minority. I wonder where I've seen that first.
I think Josh, I think you made great points with your story about Kathy. And I'm not going to sit here and say, no, Kathy's story she's obviously a great story.
We're not saying that.
Yeah, and Tina's...
We love Kathy. I love Kathy.
Tina's psycho mom story, that's interesting too, because that's what she was, basically. But let's touch on Rudy for a bit, and just give me 2 minutes to explain why.
I don't want to touch Rudy, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, not in a homosexual way, that's for sure.
Well,
but
it would be in a heterosexual way, but...
Well, no, for me, that's why I'm not touching him. But for you, it's heterosexual. But so for Rudy, now, I think Rudy, not only in the season, but also societal-wise, which I've touched on before. Now, for the first part, for the season, one of his first confessionals is, I don't even know what MTV is, and all these kids do. Now, they don't need to change. I'm the one that needs to change. Now, that has been a pivotal part of what Survivor is to date, even today. It's not about being you on the island. It's about fitting in with everyone else, that drive to just fit in, even if that's not who you are. Because the original thing of Survivor was take 16 people from different walks of life. And they are all from different walks of life. Most differently, probably Rudy, the 71-year-old retired Navy SEAL. He needs to fit in with everybody else. And he barely does. I mean, I know there is... Oh, well. Okay.
Sorry, other people live here. I don't actually live here, but...
That's okay. But, so yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, let me get my back on thought. Rudy that ends up barely fitting in and making it very deep into the season. And then it's about him learning how to get along with young people and him befriending a gay man who's someone completely different from his walk of life, but he ends up being best friends with. He completely... When Survivor casted Rudy, they never thought he'd work with Richard. And he completely proves them wrong the way he does. And you see this 71-year-old man learning more things about how the world works and society, and him being more open-minded. It really did change Rudy. How do you change a 71-year-old man? We all have that grandpa or that annoying uncle who, they say those things and you can't change their mind. But Rudy's time on the 39 days did change his ways from an individual story arc. And now from the societal view of how gay people were viewed before that, I think that was a big step forward just as a community. People became more open-minded because 51 million people saw this retired Navy SEAL give a gay man $1 million, which was crazy at the time. It's all about perspective.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to cut it off there. We're going to have closing statements. Once again, say in your closing statements why your story arc is the best and why the other ones aren't quite as good. So we'll start with Heather again.
Well, as much as I got in a lot to talk, but I think the reason why mine's obviously one of my favorites is because it was the first time that really something goes unexpected to where... What?
Nope.
Sorry, what?
Keep going.
Oh, sorry. I'm a bit nervous, so... Anyways... But it was really the first time whenever someone was just like, I'm apparently not in this group. Let me try and not make it so that I am in my own little group with these people. And then she just steamrolled it there until she decided to take the best person with her and actually won with him. As much as I love Tina the other one, Kathy, and as much as I adore Rudy, problem with Rudy's is that it relied quite a bit on the narrative of what was going on back then. And while I do understand how deep it was, and I just don't know exactly if that was the first thing that came to my mind whenever I heard the story arc thing, because it relies on a lot of outside connotations with that, and kind of the same thing with and with Kathy, which I do adore her story arc so much. Love Marquesas. But I thought that Kathy was just someone that, where is the word for it? But anyways, give me a second to collect my thoughts. I'm so sorry. I had a stressful week. And but Kathy, again, I adore her, and if she would have won, just imagine how much cooler that would have been, is basically what I'm going to say. And I know it sucks that she didn't, but I feel like if I say it was the best story arc, it would be giving everyone else a Vesepia some disservice, and I really don't like doing that. Anyways, I'm good.
All right.
Sorry
Josh.
that it kind of was like that.
No problem.
All right, Tyler.
Go on, kid.
Who's next?
Josh.
You said Josh.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You're from left to right, so I just assumed it was. Okay. I think Rudy has a very good storyline. All the points you said were correct, but I think that storyline happens in the first 5 episodes, and in the 5th episode, he's in Rich's alliance. He's good with Rich. He's learned to, be accepting of him, and then from there all the way to up until the finale, he's just kind of he's like a side character. His progression has already happened and has changed in his story arc, and he's kind of a side character who says funny things. And Kathy's story arc goes throughout the entire. It's she goes through so many highs and lows, and for the crazy lady to somehow become victorious and the biggest force in this game. It's really unbelievable, and it makes her storyline so much better that she didn't win, because that's a classic tragic hero trope. It's the person you're rooting for. It just shows how brutal Survivor is. This woman who's accomplished so much to come up, just short because of Vesepia's deceptiveness. And, the audience is outraged, and, that was what makes Survivor great. It's that the good guy doesn't always win. And in this case, it was perfect. And that's the greatest storyline within the first 4 seasons, I think, by a mile. For those reasons.
All right, Tyler.
Okay. With Rudy, I think his is the best storyline. And Heather, I know you touched upon that it kind of goes outside of Survivor, what Survivor is, because it has that societal view. Now, I think, though, Season 1 is so different, because to us, Survivor is a game now. Back then, it was a social experiment, and that goes in with society. So it was a social issue that was brought up on the island, and it was made huge. So I think that is relevant in the story. I think the first season, as a social experiment, really reflects on how society is. And the fact that the 71-year-old man changed is crazy. That doesn't happen. It showed how powerful human emotion could be, and it showed how powerful the game of Survivor can be. And that's all in Rudy's story arc. And that's why I think it is relevant. Now, with Tina, yeah, she won, but the truth is, I think Tina's heavily relied on the game, not so much of Tina as herself as a person. Yes, if you're asking me who's the best player of the 3, Tina Wesson, hands down, but that's not the question. And with Kathy, now, like I said, I don't even think Kathy does have the tragic hero story, but I don't think that makes it the best story arc. Because, like I said, I think John's from their season is as interesting, even a bit more interesting than hers. It's this, this big villain. He gets up and then he falls, the road to fall. And that, that's where my problems with Kathy, and that it was even the most interesting part of the season. And with Rudy, when his hand dropped off that idol, America's heart dropped. 51 million people in America that night's hearts were shattered because they were so invested, not in Rudy, but in Rudy's story. Their hearts were shattered when he lost. 51 million people. It was a different season, a different time, and it's hard to compare, but that's how big the first season was, and that's how big Rudy was. There's a reason why Rudy was brought back for the Caramone finale, and Kathy wasn't. Rudy's story touched America's hearts. It changed a lot of the hearts, and that's why his is the best.
All right. So, very good first round. Couple of notes. Rudy was 72 when he
I didn't
first
know he was
was on
71
board.
when he played, though. He was 71 when he played.
Yeah, and 72 when he was, I don't know. On Wikipedia it says he's 72.
Hey,
But
anyone could change that.
yeah, go change that. All right. Also, for those of you who are not aware, TC stands for Tribal Council. Look at Josh using all these fancy lingo terms.
Fancy. Should
Oh,
I call it the council, like John Rocker?
The council. And just so everyone's clear, Kathy and Rudy have not died. It was just a metaphor comparing to Tom Hanks' character. They are still
Hey, well,
alive.
you better check Rudy. It could happen any second at this point. Do you really want to make him lose the point, then he dies the next day? Like,
That would be awful. Going into the judging, remember you're being judged on creativity, facts, and passion. I thought all of you did a good job. I think, Heather, you really focused on sort of why Tina won and how great she was as a player, but maybe not the greatest at the story arc. Tyler, I thought you were great about how impactful Rudy was, but I think Josh took it with Kathy about the transformation of her whole story arc from beginning to end and her downfall, and the having the most confessionals. So there was a lot of facts there in a row. So I think I'm gonna have to give it to Josh and Kathy the first point.
Yes.
well, hopefully Rudy doesn't die, or it's not.
Yeah, I
Oh
will
my
feel
goodness.
really awful if Rudy dies tomorrow.
oh my goodness.
I'm sure he's listening right now.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our second question. What catchphrase should Jeff Probst get rid of? Jeff Probst has tons of catchphrases on the show. Some of them better than others. What is
Dig
a
deep,
catchphrase-
David!
What catchphrase should they get rid of? Surprisingly, no one chose Dig Deep, so apparently all of you enjoy it. So we will
I
start
doesn't
with.
say that often.
We'll start
Well, you
with.
kind of limited us to one.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. So we'll start with Josh, then Tyler, then Heather. Opening statements.
Okay. No question about it. This is something he says every episode, and it drives me nuts every single time. Once again, immunity is back up for grabs. That sentence is so... It drives me insane. It sounds so... He should say either, once again, immunity is up for grabs, or he should say, immunity is back up for grabs. But saying, once again, immunity is back up for grabs is a redundant sentence. It sounds stupid. It reflects poorly on Jeff and the show because, it's just basic grammatical, style choice says that you can't do that. And it's something that he says in every episode, and it sounds so stupid. It's such a simple thing to fix, and he insists on doing it every single time. I hate it. It's so easy to fix, but he doesn't do it. God.
All right, Tyler.
Okay. If Jeff Probst had to lose one catchphrase, and I think he should, I don't like all of them, but this is one for sure I'd get rid of, is if anybody has the hidden immunity idol and would like to play it, now would be the time to do so. Because if he gets rid of that catchphrase, there's no more hidden immunity idol. And I think that catchphrase holds a lot of power because it holds the power in the idol, and I think the show as a whole is much better without the idol. And we've talked about why the first 4 seasons were so great. Guess what? He never said that in the 4 seasons because there was no idol. Get rid of that catchphrase, no idol, much better. Heather, your turn.
It's a cat. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, it's a cat. Sorry. Were you done? Sorry.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh.
You're up.
I'm doing wonderful at this, aren't I?
Mhm.
Well, I kind of just realized that but I enjoy Survivor a lot. I am kind of bad in the fact that I don't usually like to watch it for anything that's crazy. So therefore, whenever he wants to push the word big moves on the crux of the poor people that are playing the game and are starved and tired, it makes me want to punch him in his face. Unfortunately, I would damage my TV, and it's kind of the only one I have. But I mean, honestly, it just annoys me.
Is it more annoying when he does it or Sierra?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So we have once again immunity's back up for grabs. If anyone would like to play the idol, then now would be the time to do so. And this game requires big moves. Let us go at it.
So Josh, you won last round. Why don't you take it? You say the first thing.
All right. Well, I think that both of your things are symptoms of something bigger, and I don't think that that's emblematic of the nature of the question. Because when you say, okay, we should get rid of idols, that's a different argument than like what phrase you should get rid of. So if there is, assume that there is some hidden immunity idol, there's absolutely nothing wrong with him saying, if anybody has it and would like to play it, now would be the time to do so. There's nothing wrong with that sentence. You don't like idols, that's fine. That's a completely different debate. Given the fact that it's there, there's nothing wrong with that sentence. This game requires big moves. Again, there's nothing technically wrong with that sentence. It's just emblematic of a larger problem. And it's a way to sum it up, but it's just emblematic of a larger problem. And also, he doesn't say that very often on the show. I think he says it more outside of the show. So yeah, well, that is annoying, but he doesn't say it that often, and there's nothing technically wrong with that sentence. Once again, immunity is back up for correctly constructed sentence. It's so dumb. It's so easy to fix. Those things are not easy to fix. That's like the large
Very
problems that
easy
you're
to
trying to change.
Yeah, but you're not exactly suggesting that he gets rid of it.
Let me touch on one thing.
Okay.
You said there's something, we didn't really go after what the question meant. Now, first, what's a
What does
catchphrase?
the question make?
Yeah, what's a catchphrase? When you
What
say
is
catchphrase, yeah, all right, enough. Just kidding.
I
what
am
is a
going to
do you want to talk first?
deconstruct this question.
Yeah, no, okay. With a catchphrase, when you say a catchphrase or any of them, they're words, and words have power. Like that's just how it is. So when they say something, you want it to hold power and have meaning, and that's what some of those catchphrases have. Like "tribe has spoken," that means you're gone, bitch. You're out of there. Like, so when you're saying to me that the one thing you'd get rid of is him saying, once again, immunity's up for grabs, that doesn't change the show at all. That's just a small little thing he says. If we could take out one catchphrase, we have the power to make a bigger impact, and you're choosing that? Like, that's silly.
Well,
We can really improve it with this question. So a catchphrase can be very powerful because it holds what the show can be. And that's why I think the hidden idol and the big moves is much better than your little grammatical error.
well, I will have to say that I don't really care what else happens. I just want him to stop saying it. Like, big moves can happen for all I care. I want him to stop saying stuff like that. I mean, it's not really a catchphrase, but I do not. It's like, of course, he should be He should aim to be more grammatical correct for all of us grammar freaks out there that nitpick at all of the interesting details and stuff. Which
Grammar people need to get a life.
As we are sitting here debating Survivor semantics, we are the last people that should tell people to get a life. Come on.
Them especially.
That's an ad hominem.
All right, calm down.
All right.
Man.
Or whatever one.
Blood will be drawn tonight.
let's go with our closing statements. Again, talking about why this statement should be gotten rid of. All right. So let's once again start with Josh.
I just think that they missed the point of the question because it's trying to, Tyler, if he changes that catchphrase, that doesn't necessarily mean that the idols are gone. He could just say it in a different way.
It's not changing the catchphrase.
That's my closing statements, Tyler. That's my
closing statements, Tyler.
All right.
Josh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I don't think he could just say it in a different way, and that would be a way to get rid of that catchphrase while you still have idols. So you've accomplished nothing by just getting rid of that catchphrase, which I don't even see where you're going there. Whether or not you should have idols or not, that's a debate for a different day. This game requires big moves. I think that it is definitely annoying. I just think he doesn't really say it on the actual show very often, and it is emblematic of larger problems. But I feel like it's in articles. The amount of times that he said that in episodes it just doesn't happen very often. Mine happens in every single episode, and it's incorrect. And it's not just being grammar nitpick. It reflects poorly on the show. It makes the show seem dumb to have him say something that's so stupid. There's articles written about this, about how stupid this phrase is and how it doesn't make any sense. And it makes Survivor look dumb, it's one of those trashier reality shows that doesn't have as much effort into it, and that does the show a disservice because it's not a dumb show. It's a smart show, but having this grammatically incorrect sentence in every episode, that's really easy to spot and really easy to understand why that's annoying. That it reflects poorly, and that's a bigger problem. It's not just being nitpicky. It's I want the show to come off well. I want to be able to recommend this to my friends, and have it seem like it's a smart show, which it is. And that phrase does a disservice to the show as a whole. And your sentences are fine. They're emblematic of larger problems. But the sentences themselves are fine, and the big moves, Jesus doesn't say it very often, and it's not. It's more outside the show. He says that, so kind of misses the point of the question.
All right, Tyler.
All right, and Josh, sorry for interrupting you, buddy. Didn't need to do that. Okay, so now you're saying that you're changing the catchphrase, but the question was to get rid of the catchphrase. So if you want to go through your argument of saying that if we got rid of the hidden immunity idol catchphrase, it would just be he'd say it in a different way. Well, then I can use the argument, okay, if he doesn't say once again immunity's back up for grabs, he might say once again immunity, you can win it. You can just change it to anything. If that's what you're arguing, it could become worse if we change it. So really, I don't think that holds any ground. I think you know what I'm getting at, and I don't think that would happen. I'm saying if that catchphrase is gone, it's gone forever. It's like saying, hey, if Jeff Probst doesn't say the tribe is spoken anymore, people aren't leaving. They're going to Redemption Island instead. And so yeah, basically I just want to say with the hidden idol thing, I think it is a huge issue in the show. I think it gets away from the narrative. We've talked about how the first 4 seasons are great. And again, a catchphrase is supposed to hold power. It's not supposed to be a little thing you just say. And it does hold a lot of power, and if we can get rid of that and have the power to and change the show for the better, I think that's what we should do. And because it's get rid of it, not change it. And I'm saying get rid of it. And with the big moves, I think that is a better answer than Josh's, because really, I'm not going to stop watching the show because once again, immunity's back up for grabs. I've never heard of anyone saying, all right, not watching this shit anymore. Oh, what's on instead? Jersey Shore. You said there's articles about this. Pixar didn't happen, bro. So
I'll send it. Want me to send it?
I want you to send it, boy. 3. I want 3 of them. You said there's several. It's more than 2. Give me 3 articles. And yeah, Heather. Yeah, the big moves is a good one. It's just it's not really a catchphrase. If you were looking on IMBD, you wouldn't see it's a requirement to make big moves. But I see what you're getting at.
All right, Heather.
Yeah, it doesn't say it a whole lot.
1 second.
Sorry.
There's an article about it.
Oh my goodness, it has the little thingy in it.
Previously.tv.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. The location. They spelled locations wrong.
Yeah,
No,
these people kind of talk.
Locutions.
Locutions.
It's kind of phrased weird, but it's
How did we know they weren't trying to spell location?
because the article is about locutions.
All right, I think we're getting off topic. Heather, why don't you give us your closing statement?
This is interesting. Redundant phrases can be quite intrusive on grammar problems, or it could be a way of how you say things. He's from Kansas, I think. Right? Yeah, Kansas. So a lot of people here in Oklahoma tends to do the redundant phrasing, and it's quite normal to me. So I never even noticed it, and I've been watching Survivor for over 10 years now, so yeah, probably some people notice it, but they probably have better things to do, to be honest. Well, yeah, and the idol thing is quite an interesting way to spin on it, as in get rid of it. I don't think that'll stop idols from becoming a thing. I just think it would be said a different way, or it would not be said at all, and people would just be chucking idols at approach, which will make it much funnier. So that's actually a pretty good answer in that way. The big moves thing, yeah, he doesn't say it a lot on the show, or not nearly as much as the other two. But if you, like me, are on various Survivor groups, then you see it slowly seep into the community, and it feels like taking a knife and scraping it against a sheetrock. And that's what it'll sound like every time you read it in your head, and that made more sense in my head, but oh well. Yeah.
All right.
And that's why I want to get rid of it, not because it's going to change the game or because it's going to do anything. I just want to get rid of it for personal, selfish reasons because it's so annoying.
All right.
All right.
Very good round.
I only saw one article. I asked
Okay.
several.
I'm glad that we offended all grammar people as well as Survivor fans. We managed to offend all of them in one category.
There goes the audience.
Yeah. The two people who were watching just completely shut it off.
Because in the mail.
But good round. I think Josh, what lost it for yours for me is that it was more of you wanted to change it and get rid of the redundancy, but not get rid of the catchphrase as a whole necessarily. And so it came down to Tyler and Heather, and I think they got you on the point, Heather, that maybe it's not quite a catchphrase, that he doesn't use it that often, and you sort of agree with it. And then essentially you gave Tyler a point at the end of saying, oh, that's actually a good thing if he doesn't say it. Then maybe it will be funnier because they don't know what to do with idols. So I'm going to give the point to Tyler.
Yes, I'm powerful. Yes.
I live for the interesting stuff in life, which is including hilarious Survivor.
If you got rid of idols, it'd be great though. Like, if there's no more idols, I'm very happy.
Well, since I made that argument for him, can I get something? No.
You get half a point.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's no tie then. I'm screwed.
Yeah. You lose by half a point because she gave you an argument. All right. So, moving on to question number 3. Since we had Heather on the show, I thought we should do this question. Who deserves a second chance from Survivor Guatemala? Guatemala is one of the few seasons that famously doesn't have anyone come back as a returning player, any of the original players, not the returning ones. So who from this season, there's 16 glorious people, who deserves a second chance to come back into this game? So we're going to start with Tyler, then Heather, then Josh. Opening statements. Go, Tyler.
So the question is, who deserves a second chance? And so we could go for a funny character like Judd or Jamie, or we could go for, someone who really got screwed. But I think there's a player in Guatemala who is actually one of the best players to never win, is extremely underrated, and his name is Wraith. He was literally, in the final 3, as long as Danny doesn't win the final challenge, he wins the game. And I know people are going to say, oh, he shouldn't have voted out Lydia, and he should have got rid of Danny. But the truth is, if you look at the history of Final Immunity Challenges, those short, sturdy, older women are actually quite good at the Final Immunity, not the long, 6 feet tall women like Danny. So I saw his logic there. And also, Guatemala was a brutal season. Danny was going through, like, she had IVs put into her. She was quite sick out there, actually. We didn't just see that. So I think, Rafe, he took a calculated risk and really just didn't pan out for him, and he lost. And I think, the skill he brought makes him deserve a second chance. And I think if he did come back, he would have a great shot at winning and being remembered as a great Survivor player, which he should have, because he is fantastic.
All right, Heather.
Well, this is my memorial question, huh? Well...
Hey, don't fuck this one up.
Oh, if I screw this one up, I will never hear the end of it, because Survivor Guatemala is the season I started out with. It is my personal favorite season.
Wait.
And...
Wait, are you Dolly?
Hold it. It's her turn.
No. I'm Heather.
Stop interrupting people, Tyler.
Yeah, god damn it. Anyways, I would say, in truth, I would love every single cast member to come back in a single season and just replay it again. But I was like, well, I should probably choose just one, because then no one else can choose someone else, because I just took all of them. So I chose someone who we didn't get to see a lot of, because she didn't end up in every single episode. I think she was a great, entertaining character, and I strive on entertainment, not on very, very boring people. So I will choose my favorite. Amy O'Hara should come back, because she is an exciting, tough character who I wish that she was on that merge.
All right, Josh.
The person who deserves a second chance this is a television show. The person who deserves to come back is the person who makes the best television. And that is Judd. Judd was a transcendent character. It's a travesty he wasn't brought back. He was hilarious. I thought for sure after seeing that season that he would come back. He was the breakout comedic character. The amount of moments that he has, hope you all get bit by a bunch of crocodiles, getting stuck in the mud. That thing's definitely by far on the ground. In absolute, he might be one of the funniest characters in the history of the show, and it's all completely natural. He's not putting on a character. That's him. It's purely him, and it's a delight to watch. And I want to see more of it. He was such a huge character. He deserves to come back. It's a travesty that he wasn't. I understand, I like Amy a lot. She's entertaining as well, but I understand why she wasn't brought back, going out early and everything. And I think the person who deserves the second chance the most is the person who brought the most entertaining television, and that's Judd. Rafe sucks and is super boring, and I'm surprised you picked that after you talking about you don't like idols and stuff. Rafe, yeah, okay. Judd is the absolute one of the best, funniest characters in Survivor history. He deserves a second chance. I want to see him on this next season that has returning players or whenever. He deserves to come back because he earned that by providing an absolute treasure trove of entertainment for my television screen. He's the best part of that season by far, and let's bring him back. He should have been back a long time ago.
All right. It's open to everyone. Go.
All right. My problem with the word deserve and it to be entertaining, and it's a television show, the problem with that argument is then really the editors deserve to return because they decide it's going to be entertaining and not. Yeah, each character helps. Yeah, but and again,
they return every single season. They always bring back editors to do the show,
yeah, which is good. But that's what I'm saying.
It's nonsense.
I don't understand.
Entertainment is relative. So, yeah, Amy
actually.
and Judd are very entertaining. But guess what? I think Amy is more entertaining than Judd. I think she's a better character. I think she is. I like Amy more. You see, there's no. It's all relative. It's all opinion based.
Yes.
Now, if you had to tell me who's the most compelling, I think Rafe is the most compelling. Because there's been a lot of super fans on Survivor. And Rafe is one of them. And I feel like he represented us the best. He was a normal, smart guy.
I want to be represented by Rafe. I don't want him to return. You want to know
You
why
want
I
to be
don't want him to
represented
return?
by Amy?
You want to know why I don't want him to be returned?
Why?
So he can stay on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and continue to make one of my favorite shows.
Oh, that's a shitty show.
I can do it.
Non-compete clause. Listen, he has to come up with new ways to say, "Oh, you just missed Captain America. He just left." He has to come up with ways to say that all the time. He's too busy. He can't come back in Survivor.
He's a writer.
Yes.
He's obviously
Love that
interested
show.
enough to do confessionals. You disagree. He's a writer for that show. He makes it good.
Fitzsimmons
He
for
can
life.
he can say interesting and smart things. And the word is deserve. So,
No, it's not.
yeah, it was who deserves to return. It's not who should return.
I remember that being a huge argument in that season 2. Who deserves to go to the end? And guess what? Who benefited from that argument? The winner deserved.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Danny didn't deserve to win. I'm a big Danny.
The main problem with Judd is that I would like to see Judd return. However, will he be able to? Because no one likes him in that circle, it seems like.
Production doesn't like him.
That is
They didn't
the
like
only
Johnny
reason.
Johnny Fairplay punched Jeff Pro's brother in the face, and they brought him back for season 16.
Fact
Yeah,
check.
and look how well that did.
He pushed Jeff Probst's brother. Fact check.
That's what I said. Isn't that what I said?
He said,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, did I? I knew that. I knew Johnny Fairplay got in a fight with Jeff Pro's brother. Did I mix him up when I spoke?
Yes, it's all good.
Oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that. But the point remains.
You shouldn't
it
have
doesn't
pointed
matter.
that out then. Jeez.
The point remains that I think, first of all, Rafe is terrible television. There's a million people like him. Bring back Josh Canfield, Charlie Herschel. He's all just Tyler Frederickson, all these boring people talking about strategy. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. So, hold on one second. I'm shocked that you picked him, Tyler. I think that goes against what I expected from you. That he's such a non-compelling character. He actually makes the fact that he's the narrator makes that season worse.
Guatemala's a great season. I don't know.
I know. I didn't say it's bad. I like it a hell of a lot. But Rafe, I love it. I really like it. But Rafe is one of the things that brings it down because he's so damn boring. You can't bring him back.
You don't have to flatter me.
Yeah, and I think that Amy is, she is entertaining, but she is not as entertaining as Judd. Judd is a transcendent character. Amy is, she has some funny lines here and there. Judd is so arrogant and so full of himself, and he keeps getting humiliated in new and hilarious ways every single time. Just when you think you can't top himself, he tops himself. And it was absolutely a joy to watch. It's the funniest and best part of that season. He should come back for that because he was the biggest character out there. You can't write – if you wrote this guy in fiction, no one would believe you. Because this guy is so ridiculous. They'd be like, oh, that's unrealistic. But this is a real man putting himself out.
Judd is a poor man's Dan Foley. He's a poor man's Dan Foley. Dan Foley is just
terrible.
Judd on steroids.
No,
that's all
Dan Foley is horrible.
Yeah.
That's
When Judd first came out,
no.
yes.
Horrible.
100%.
Horrible.
Okay, so what's worse? What's worse?
I am
to get slapped or be bitten by a crocodile.
I am tired of people wanting people to return, though. And whenever they do, they always pick people who went far. And I'm like, what's the point of having them have a second chance? They had their second chance.
I think Amy's a great answer. I think she's much more likable and entertaining.
I want Amy back.
It's relative. I would much rather.
She's not the star. She's there, and there's people like her. Judd
there's people like Judd.
Yeah, but you bring back
one person. You just say that there's a body type, and they're both.
No, they said
boisterous.
controversial things.
You bring back a star. The star of the season, and see what happens to them. See what happened to Kathy, the star of Marquesas, when they brought her back. I don't want to bring back the star of Guatemala
Kathy
because
was great the second
won.
time around. But no, the thing is, though, with Judd, like I said, entertainment is relative. I think Amy's an interesting character and more entertaining than Judd, to be honest. Judd is an outrageous character.
Crazy.
Well, no. Yeah. With full Abby Maria, another great character. Philip. They say outrageous and arrogant things, and they're put on the show. That's all Judd is. Amy is somebody.
Yeah, but I love Abby Maria too. You can't.
I do too. I'm kind of helping Amy out here, and you just keep destroying it. So I don't know what you're trying to do. Because I think Amy's a great answer. I was going to say Amy, but
But you saw that I was going to be on, so you're like, no.
Well, I don't even know who you are, but it's.
Oh, I have to leave.
It's No, but the thing with Amy's someone who, if she returns, people could get behind and root for, and I think that's something. You want someone who's relatable, and you can. Judd is not relatable. I'm not like, oh, yeah.
Neither is Rafe.
No, but Rafe, though, I think when you say the word deserves, I think he played the best game that season to deserve a second chance.
I don't care who plays the best game.
He didn't play the
Boring
best
as hell.
game. Because if he played the best game, he would have won.
No, I'm saying he played the best game to get a second chance. How the hell could Danny return to get a second chance?
So you're basically you're saying that Rafe played the best second placer game.
I said Rafe played the best game to get a
third
second
place.
You
Okay,
can't
well, I think
say
that's fair.
Let's go with closing statements here. All right, Tyler.
Oh yeah, like I said, we said the word.
I can't
We
get
said
to
the
it,
word
though.
deserve. It's all good. And I think the editors can make anyone seem like a great character, and they will every season. And I think Rafe is a good narrator. I think he's proven that by being a writer in a TV show, and he played a great game. So I think him himself, with what he did that season, warrants him a second shot. Yeah, Judd's more entertaining, and Amy's even more entertaining than both of them. But they don't really deserve a second shot. They don't deserve it.
All right, Heather.
Oh, hello. Sorry. Anyways, the reason why I choose Amy is, again, because of pure selfish reasons. But I know that a lot of people would like to see her return. And I know that unlike Judd or Rafe, she's also 1,000 times more realistic. Might want to fact check that with the 1,000. But the problem with me wanting Rafe on is I don't really think that Rafe is the character that people want him to be. And it sounds like a lot of arguments on here is just basically just basically ripping off of what Mario Lanza said about him, and that's the part that we don't really get to see how sick Danny was, and that's not really part of the narrative. And I know it was kind of a thing as well. And the thing I have with Judd is, even though he is hilarious, he's actually quite. Holy shit! I need to turn that off eventually. It's He's actually very controversial, actually, with some of the fans online. But if we're going to ignore them, because they usually do ignore all of our requests since they brought back Philip, I just think Amy would be the better one because she didn't even make it to the merge. I truly believe that the people that are most deserving for these second chances are those that didn't really get to play a game that we get to see. And I have to end it there, and I have to turn off those real quick. I'm so sorry.
All right, we move on to Josh.
I said it's a travesty that Judd wasn't brought back. I totally understand why Amy wasn't brought back. That makes perfect sense. And it's the fact that Tyler says that he thought that Amy's more entertaining than Judd. He's just saying that so I don't go up 2-1 because strategically, in my final words, he's just saying that strategically. You don't believe that. That's an absolutely ridiculous statement. Judd had 10 entertaining, hilarious moments for every one of Amy's. I like Amy, but Judd is a much better character. He had so many better moments, even per episode, up until when she leaves. The tribal council where he is talking to everyone and he says, "Do I listen to you?" And they start to talk and he interrupts them. "Do I listen to you?" And he interrupts them. He contradicts himself in his own sentence. And he's such a gigantic, huge, larger-than-life, wonderful character. Much bigger than Amy. And really, just people have been asking, like, oh, why hasn't he come back for years? And with good reason. And with Amy, it makes perfect sense why she was brought back. She was pretty entertaining, but not an absolute comedic mastermind. And she was not, and he provided so many of those moments and far more than Amy's. And Rafe sucks and is super boring. And he should not even consider coming back for 1 second. Just bring back like Charlie Herschel. He's the same person. Bring back.
All right. So
Charlie didn't play in Guatemala.
That is true. Good thing you didn't choose that answer.
By the way, who's sitting at home really pissed right now if they're watching this? Is Brian Corridan.
Yeah, I don't want to say him because he's the most likely to watch this too. That's the funny thing.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
to be fair, if it would have brought back that someone else would have chose Amy before I did, then I would have picked Brian.
Yo, I don't need anyone from
I
the
love
Wine and
Brian.
Cheese Alliance back on. I say ban the Wine and Cheese Alliance from Survivor.
I adore Brian. He's amazing.
All right, let's hear the verdict.
All right,
Yes,
so
actually.
here's our verdict. Boy, they really railed on you, Tyler, with Rafe. It's hard to ignore it. It's hard to ignore that. And also the fact that you were sort of defending and helping Heather with her Amy argument sort of puts you out of the running. And both of you had some really good points as far as like funny and very having great moments. You had Judd, but then Heather had a lot of good points about how Amy is very likable and relatable, and that I enjoyed the point that the second chances are maybe for people who we didn't get to see their full game and their full potential. And with Judd, I don't know how much new material he would have.
All the new material in the world.
Just bring back Dan Foley instead. Same thing there.
So I'm going to give the point to Heather.
Yay!
Hope you get bit by a bunch of freaking crocodiles, man.
Dude, I only said Rafe because you said Judd. I was gonna say Judd. So
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
You should have said Brian. Jeez.
No, I can't support the Wine and Cheese Alliance. Like that just goes against my nature. So I've.
I know. I was shocked by you and Rafe. You didn't believe that.
No, I was I think Rafe's a really good player. I do. But I think he's not completely boring. But I was going to say Amy, but I don't know that much about Guatemala, so I was like,
You should learn more.
Yeah, you knew you lost, and you'd rather have the points divided. So
yeah,
I knew. I saw what you were doing. I knew exactly what you were doing. You were lying.
It's a game, Josh. It's a game.
Such a liar.
All right. Here's our next question. We're talking about Survivor Season 32 is about to premiere, but after that, Season 33, where they're going to have to come up with some brand new gimmick to entice people to watch the season. I have the question, what new twist should they put on the next season of Survivor? So Season 33, since Season 32 has already aired, what new twist should they do it? So we're in the room, we're pitching twist ideas for the show. So we're going to start with Josh, and then Heather, and then Tyler. So what new twist should be put on the next season of Survivor? Let's start, Josh.
Okay. This show has all these crazy twists that, as Tyler alluded to earlier, they're just ruining the game to some degree. And, you can't go, back too much right now. But one thing that would be great is if they did a reverse schoolyard pick. And what I mean by that is, as a way to divide the tribes, it's simple. It was done in classic seasons like Palau, but a way to improve it is a reverse pick. So there's two team captains, and whoever picks first, usually in a schoolyard pick, they'd say, okay, I want this person on my tribe. But a reverse schoolyard pick would be pick one person out of the remaining 16 contestants to send to the other tribe. So it's forcing that team leader to say, this is who I don't want on my tribe, and so on and so forth. And instantly, that creates so much drama and so many storylines. Think about it. I'm in my opening statement, Tyler. And so the first person sent, it's like one person, let's say Brandon or Brendan or whatever starts, he's like, okay, this is the person that I want on my tribe the least. And he sends that person. Now that person is like, oh, I'm going to get that Brendan. I can't believe that he chose me as the worst person on the tribe. That's absolutely ridiculous. And that's a way. It's a simple. It's not one of these crazy game-changing twists. It's about improving the characters and the storylines. Instantly, you have so many storylines. The storyline, for example, Angie was mad that Kobe didn't pick her towards the end. That's kind of the only one thing, and it never came to a close. This way, you guarantee several storylines, and once it gets to the swap, maybe they end up working with that person who shows them to exile, to send them to their tribe and exile them, or sometimes there's a great animosity, and it creates increasing the characters and the drama and the entertainment is the goal, not all these crazy random twists or whatever. And that's a perfect way and a simple way to do it.
All right, let's go with Heather.
All right. We should bring back Amy for this one.
Wow.
Okay. All right. No. I am a fan of simple comedy in a way. I think that they should make something extremely convoluted, simply because they should. They should tell when Jeff Probst is on the boat, he's like, yes, there's a hidden immunity idol. It's somewhere. And immediately someone, like on the first day, since everyone has simplified the act of idol finding, they're going to think that, oh, this person has it, no, this person has it, this person has it. And the twist is no one has it. There is no idols. The twist is that this season has no idols, but it was never stated that it doesn't. And that seems extremely convoluted, but stick with me, it'll work. And people are going to get mad and then do unnecessary vote splitting, and I'm going to be at home laughing at it all because of how stupid it all is.
All right, Tyler.
All right.
Is this dog?
No. Yo. Dog eat dog world. It's hear me out, guys. They cast a season full of dog lovers. People have had a dog for over 5 years. And they get to go on the show with their dog. But now the twist is, that dog is a hidden immunity. And everyone has
Damn
one.
it, he's won already.
And if they want to play their idol, they just have to bring up their dog to Jeff Probst, and he puts down the dog in front of them.
Oh, God.
Think of the
Oh, I didn't know that.
Think of the
Mine was
drama.
convoluted. Oh,
Hi, Dexter. I need to win a minute. Like, imagine if someone played their dog and they didn't have to. All right, that is not actually my twist. That's not my twist.
No, you said it. You argued it. You got to stick with it.
yeah. It's yours now.
You went on way too long. That's your time. That's your pitch.
It was a joke.
No, it is.
That's your pitch.
All right,
That's
On the plus
If you said it for
side,
10
we're
seconds,
now
then
win.
That's your twist. That's your twist. Stop. That's his twist. You went on for way too long. If you stopped it for 10 seconds, that'd be one thing.
All right,
Your face.
well-
Can I change it, Dave? That was just a joke because I said something.
You went on way too long to change it.
I think.
We were 40 minutes late starting this thing, and you're talking about time to me? Like,
I think we could make a compromise, and you could merge your real one with that together.
no, but can I actually do my real twist?
Let's go
All right.
quickly.
Survivor 33 rivals. I think if we don't do another returning player season soon, we're going to just do another fans versus favorites, and we're going to have another one season 40 regardless. And I'd like to minimize that by just giving it out of the way. And I think Survivor Rivals is a really good idea because it's kind of like Bizarro Blood versus Water. But they would have to cast people who really hated each other, like Ted, Gondia.
Oh, God.
Abby, Sue Hawk and Richard Hatch, Abby, Maria, and RC. Get people who truly hate each other on there.
I don't know if that's legally allowed to happen anymore.
Corinne and Sugar, Randy and Crystal. I think you'd have a stellar cast, put them on the same tribe, and it would be amazing. People who truly hate each other. And I think you'd have a fantastic season.
All right, let's fight it out.
It's such a shame that you didn't stick with the dog thing, because I would have been like, well, I can't possibly argue against that.
I think
That's
PETA would argue against it.
That is the best idea I have ever heard in my life. I would have been like, nope, can't do this. I'm sorry.
You fixed
You
this
get the
before on the
point.
Patreon cast, yeah. So I was not shocked by it. I called it. I thought that you were going with it. But
I'm just like, well.
that's crazy. The Survivor, no more All-Star seasons. That's enough of this. I can't believe you're pitching an All-Star season. That's
There was
we at
only
least-
like 2 All-Star seasons. Cambodia is not an All-Star season. Let's get that straight.
returning player
Josh.
season. Returning player seasons.
Oh,
They
they're
need
gonna
to
have one anyway.
hold on. They need to repopulate the cast. If they are gonna do it, which I'm not a fan of, they need to repopulate the cast for this question is for Survivor 33, and that's way too soon. That's ridiculous. And also, I don't think that that's going to be. It's so stupid to do it so soon again after they just had one in season 31. That's ridiculous. That's when you start, dogs eating its.
Would it bring in more viewers though? Would it be more entertaining than your little reverse schoolyard pick where
I care about
sleep? Everyone would be sleeping for Survivor.
At this point, anyone that has watched Survivor through Redemption Island will probably watch through whatever. They would probably watch through the dog thing too.
Oh, I think a lot of people watch the dog thing. I think so.
I would watch the dog thing.
I think that would be all.
I would get those days off at work. I usually work Wednesday nights. I would have been like, I'm sorry, I can no longer work Wednesday nights. You're going to have to just deal with it because I'm going to be watching Survivor and see if anyone kills their dogs. Because I am a sociopath, apparently.
And Brian Heideck returns.
Oh, no.
Brian Heideck, returning player captain.
He's just standing right next to Jeff Rhodes. I'm ready when you are.
He wants to play the idol.
Brian Heideck could come back for Survivor Rivals, and his rival could be a dog.
Okay. Okay.
Dog wins $1 million.
Yeah. He goes to tribal council. I overcame so much. I got shot with an arrow. No, you gotta give me the vote. The jury vote.
Brian tried playing me when he's Okay, no, but I just find
off track here.
All right. I think with your idea, Josh, I think it's not a twist for the season. I think it's very boring and bland. It doesn't really I think it's a boring idea.
The problem is, I don't think it's a boring idea per se. I think it's extremely complicated. It's very interesting. It's a reverse schoolyard pick, but there's going to be a lot of stuff to deal with that. And one of the things that I know is it's one of those things where can you honestly see how much it's going to go? And a reverse schoolyard pick, basically someone's going to get punched in the throat, and I don't know if that's going to be a good thing.
No one's going to get punched in the throat, but it's going to be it's such an instant way to create drama. What are you talking about? It's boring. You're lying again.
I'm falling asleep when you're explaining
the fact
that.
It instantly creates drama with people. She agrees. And I think the thing about having no idols, we're not even talking about.
I agree part of it.
But I guess that would be a little bit interesting. I thought about that myself. I guess there'd be something a little interesting about it. But I think just at the end of it, just be like, well, I guess no one found it, and there would be a little vote split here and there, but there wouldn't really have any impact on this on season as much. I mean, you wouldn't have the thing, and also production would never go for it.
I have a question. I have a question about Josh's twist. Does this happen in every episode or just the first one?
What? Just the first one? Why would it happen?
That's not a real twist if it's for one episode. That's stupid.
No, but that creates drama.
No, that's just
I don't like these crazy twists. I want something simple about.
That's just like Kagayan, where they say, "Oh, you're the weakest." It's like the same thing.
But it's with everyone, and that creates drama. The first two episodes of
Helicopter.
Cog, you're amazing.
It's not a real twist for the season. It's just a little thing at the beginning.
Now here is my
Yours is a season idea. Yours isn't a twist either.
That's a twist.
All right, guys, I think it's Heather's turn.
And it sucks.
It's my turn. Let's see if I remember what I was going to say. Thanks.
Put down my alpha.
I was about to say, imagine the usual so-called super fans that apparently we all like to see, like Rafe and stuff.
Great.
It was great. Imagine how would someone like him would react if there was an implied idol somewhere, but there's not. Someone's head's gonna explode. It's gonna be glorious. HD too.
I feel like
that's my twist because of HD TV.
Heather, I do see your point with your idea, but you see, my problem with the idols isn't that the fact that they're played. It's how people play when there's idols in the games. I don't like splitting votes. I think that wastes screen time and is dull. And I think the constant discussion of idols would basically be like they're there anyways. Because they really do rarely get played. It's just the time the idols take out when there's more interesting things to be done. So I think it really doesn't change.
I agree.
I think it doesn't change.
That's why I'm saying this.
It's a giant hypothetical that's never going to happen and just be very boring and dull. It is a twist that is unlike Josh's, that's my problem with Josh's too. I find it, kind of just boring and dull in the beginning, and it's only one episode.
It's gonna create.
So you're basically arguing against a season with no idols.
Yeah. The reason why I like the reason why I like no idols is because if everybody knows there's no idols, because then that changes the game. When people think there's idols, they're going to be like, hey, let's play like there is an idol, and that's what I don't like. I don't like splitting votes. That's why in season 14 was the most interesting season to have idols in, because they didn't really know how to play with them yet, and that's why it's exciting. Mm-hmm. Now, every time, let's have
Guatemala.
They split the vote, by the way.
I'm talking about the idols that we
they
have
did
now.
Split a vote.
Yeah, that's when Alex saved himself.
That's when. Yeah. I'm talking about like the modern idol, not like the ones before. But
this was all Cowboy's fault, and last time I checked, he was in season 13.
I know.
That's true.
No one listened to him.
But no, so yeah, that's my issue with the idol is the conversations about splitting votes and like who has and stuff. I find that very boring and dull. Oh, you'd have everyone looking for the idol still, and that's more boring. Like, oh, look, they're looking for something that's not there. It doesn't change anything.
Hilarious.
And it's not funny because
it's like watching a 4-year-old look for Easter eggs when you didn't.
It's like
It's hilarious.
For things like that, when people look for idols,
I'm so sorry if my family is watching.
We lose scenes like Jeremy trying to get Keith's attention. Every time someone has to talk about idol, we lose a scene like that. And I feel like that's much funnier than someone saying, "Oh, where's the idol?" And there's no idol.
I agree. I think you didn't present it in the right way, and for that, I think it just doesn't work because the way that everything Tyler's saying, I completely agree with vote splitting or character moments, but with you, it's like even by not having the idol, it's like they're just gonna say, well, I guess no one found it, but let's split the votes anyway. Here's how we're gonna split the votes, and like I guess it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, there isn't one, but like it's gonna be the same thing. They're just gonna say, I didn't find it. And Survivor Rivals, you just couldn't come up with a good idea, so you just stole the thing.
That's a good idea. I think if you had people who truly hated each other,
meanwhile, you picked a first episode thing.
Pardon?
Like the dog.
Yeah, yours is even cool. Yours is one thing.
The dogs would have been the cooler one. Can we just give the point to the dogs already?
Yeah.
I think PETA would shut down. Like Survivor 33 Dog would be the last season.
Yes, and think about what awesome season that would be if you're going to end the series, end it on that.
Jeff Rope's talking to the dogs.
So,
your family.
There we go.
All right.
Dogs win.
Closing statements really quickly. Why yours needs to be on season 33. Let's start with Josh.
Closing statements. First of all, all the problems with the lack of idols were well discussed by Tyler. Survivor Rivals is ridiculous. You can't have a returning player season for season 33. That's ridiculous. My season, you keep saying it's boring, Tyler. You're just saying that because you don't want it to win. But I mean, you're not thinking about what that means. It creates instant drama. It's like, oh, I can't believe that guy didn't pick me. And he specifically selected me as the person out of the entire cast he didn't want on his tribe. That creates so much drama, and it helps define the characters in a new player season. And it is a twist. It's something that it's going to dominate the focus of the airtime of the first episode, and it is enough of a twist. I don't want crazy twists with additional votes and other crazy stuff that like ruins the game. The game's fine for the most part. Don't add an extra vote. This is you say it's not enough of a twist. I don't want a huge twist. I want this. This is great. It helps add to the character moments that you're talking about. It adds to the human drama, something that you profess to love. And I think it's going to help so much with every person having a little story. And it's like, oh, this person was the first person picked to go to the other tribe. Some woman. She's now all of a sudden it'll also help increase that person's competitive spirit. If they're just picked last in a tribe swap, in a tribe pick, and they're just like, well, I guess there's something wrong with me because everyone didn't. But if you're the person specifically selected, you're like, oh, that Mark thinks that I'm the worst person to have on his tribe. I'm going to get him, and it's going to get their competitive juices flowing and help develop the characters, introduce instant drama characters and storylines. Heather's yours doesn't go. Yours has the wrong approach. Tyler's yours is stupid. We can't have it for Survivor 33. That's dumb. We can't have that, and I don't even think it would work.
All right. Tyler, quickly, your final thoughts.
Wow, you were right, Josh. That sounds really
Oh,
exciting.
you're right. I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off. Heather, it's your turn.
You're just saying that.
Ha. Sorry. Anyways, well, yeah, I mean, the main problem with this question, though, is that the next season of Survivor is Survivor 33, and that's close, and that's why your question, or your answer, Tyler, doesn't work, because it's rather kind of too soon to do a returning player season, I think. Well, or maybe it's soon enough, who knows? I don't. Anyways, I never thought I'd hear the day when I get to hear an argument against having a season with its unofficial twist being that there is no idols, from someone who said that the catchphrase Jeff should get rid of would be immunity idols, just to get rid of them. And, well, you just seem like someone who wouldn't like idols, but, I mean, the approach is a bit interesting. I just think it would be funny, because I could have gone the cheap route and said there is no idols, but that's like, well, saying repeat, let's just do another season that looks the same, and that's not really a twist, is it? As for the reverse schoolyard pick, it is a rather interesting concept. The problem is that if it's like the first thing, and I know you highlighted Angie and Palau, but Angie didn't really, there was no clue to that. But if it was reversed, yeah, if it was a reverse schoolyard pick, though, would it really be different, or would it just be a different spin on it, but it'll last the same amount of time? And that's kind of banking on everyone being kind of shallow and dramatic, but, well, Survivor does like to play up on its drama. Who knows? And it's just, the problem is I don't know how well some of the audience could grasp it. I mean, it is rather simple, but the problem is that how well would it extend past the first episode would be my question with that. And then as for rivals, I personally like the dog story. That should still win.
All right, Tyler.
Everyone else's has their problem, but the dog story. I apologize.
I think PETA has a big problem with the dog story.
Screw PETA.
All right, so Heather, yeah, I don't like idols, but I don't like it because people know there's idols. I don't like the idea that people are going to be splitting votes still looking for idols. I think that wastes time and stuff like that. And that's why I'm against your idea, because they would still think there's an idol, which is just as dangerous as there being no idol. It's like the final two in Kageyaan wasn't as great as the other final twos because they always thought it was going to be a final three. It only works if they know what they're getting into. That's what makes it more interesting. And Josh, with your idea, like I do find it boring. Like I really don't care about how they pick their tribes in the first day. I'm like asleep. Like I'm not just saying that. It's nothing. And I know what you're saying, that you want it to be a very small twist so it can be like a regular season. But then what you're really doing is you're highlighting that you want just a regular season. Your twist doesn't really do anything. You were just trying to find a small twist that really wouldn't have much effect and not mean anything. So you're kind of going with nothing. Like that's what you're kind of trying to say. You're trying to say you like it when there's no twist, so you'd see all this natural drama and stuff like that. But that's not really about your twist then. You're just saying you want a natural season. Your twist has nothing to do with that. It doesn't matter. Your twist is about being entertainment, and it's not that great. It's dull. Now, you both said at one point you want drama in your season. If you want drama, you put people who are rivals with each other, who hate each other, like Corinne and Crystal. I mean, Corinne and Sugar, and Randy and Crystal. They hate each other. There is going to be intense natural drama. It won't have to do with idols and stuff like that. It will be actual hatred. And you could get a cast together. I know you say it's too soon for an All-Stars, but you know what? This is just how Survivor is now. You may not like it, though. I'm sure a lot of the casual fans would be very excited to see the rivals on. And that's what we're trying to present to. That's the thing. Yeah, we're a small super fan base, but casuals is what brings in the money. We're a small part of it, and you know what? They would like it. It would be great for advertisement, and you would get the drama you're both trying to get with your twist, which normally would not work.
Last time I mocked the casual fans on a show, it did not go well.
So,
All right.
tough decision here. You all made some pretty good points for your own and poking holes in the others.
The dogs win.
Yeah, maybe if you would have stuck with the dogs, you may have won.
I don't
you
think
may never know.
This isn't realistic, obviously.
But Survival Rivals, they did say it's very soon. We've never had an all returning player season that close to one back-to-back. So when you say that's the way Survivor is, we haven't had the evidence yet that they're going to do all returning players that soon. They got you pretty good, Heather, with taking away the idols, but not telling them that you're still going to get a lot of these scenes. And while it may of splitting votes and and people looking, and while it may be funny initially, once you get later on in the season and they're still doing it, it may not be as funny. And I thought, Josh, you did very well of any criticism that came your way of answering it. It doesn't say what twist should be the highlight of the season. It just says what twist should they put on there. And I think you made a good point of that it does create drama, even if it's only for the initial couple episodes. It's still something that initially will start something. So I'm going to give the point to Josh.
Oh. Remind me to skip that season.
You're crazy.
Well,
it can't be any worse than having your family members on a season.
But Sarah voted out her mom, guys. Wasn't that the greatest moment in Survivor history?
Well, to me, it's almost like the Worlds Apart or the Brain Brawn Beauty. It doesn't really matter after the first couple episodes, of what. It's just the tagline that they're gonna get.
So the point goes to the dog, right?
it may have. if he could have really sold me on it.
Well, I could sell you. I just don't know if it legally could happen.
Well, they didn't say what it could legally be on.
Yeah. I'm like, damn it, I wanted that. That's the one I wanted. Can I change it? Mine was dumb. Can I change it?
All right, we go to the final question.
I'd kill my dog to win this debate.
Who is the best fan from a fans versus favorite season? So this is season 16 and season 26. Who's the best fan from either of those? We're going to start with Heather, then Tyler, and then Josh. So Heather, take it away.
Obviously, the best fan is the one in my house because it keeps my place cool. Oh, wait, wrong fan. Sorry. I chose Eric because he is adorable. Adorkable would be the better statement, as I read online somewhere. But you got Ice Cream Boy / he's on the other fans versus favorite season, but we want to pretend that one didn't happen.
You can't do that.
I'm sorry, there was more than one fans versus favorite season? Sorry. Anyways, it's just such a shame that he got all that way just to get humiliated on national TV by a bunch of women. I'm sure a lot of men have been through that. And simply that, he's my favorite.
All right, Tyler.
I went with Eddie Fox from Survivor Caramone. I think he's a great character. I think he was very entertaining. And Dog Bar, he wanted to make a dog bar. You know how I feel about dogs, and it's good.
Yeah, you want to kill them.
And I feel like putting dogs in a bar situation would take a lot of them out. I don't think it's the best area for them. I'm supporting this. I think Eddie has a very interesting story in Caramone. I think he's an interesting and entertaining guy. And as a player, I think he has Keith Nail upside, actually. And I'll get more into that later. But I think he's a great character. And I think he's actually a pretty underrated player.
All right, Josh.
The best fan is the one that brought the most entertainment value to the season. And that is by far, definitely, Jason Siska. His storyline throughout Survivor Micronesia is completely hilarious. I just rewatched it this last summer, and I was laughing at the Jason Siska moment, like in almost every single episode. He has so many ridiculous moments, and obviously we all remember it's an effing stick. How unbelievable is it that someone actually fell for that idol? That's one of the best moments in the history of the show. And it's like, don't worry, it has a face on it. But the thing is, that's just one aspect of Jason that was hilarious. He did so many other humiliating things. It's unbelievable. He gave up in the challenge where you have to hold your arm to the tank for basically no reason. People were holding their fingers behind their back, like, yeah, we won't vote you out, and he fell for it. He called it, after the stick thing, he called himself a godlike competitor, and he just constantly humiliating himself. Natalie sends him to exile, and he thinks that she wants to work with him, which even was completely the opposite. And every moment he says something ridiculous. He's hilarious. He's more entertaining than any other fan by a wide shot. And even his intro shot was him tripping and falling, which is a metaphor for him. And he has like 7 or 8 hilarious, amazing moments. I mean, and I don't even have to, because it speaks for itself. And the fact that Ozzy said, like, man, I hope Jason is naive enough to actually believe that thing is actually a real idol. And then it actually happened. How unbelievable is this guy? It's so entertaining. He gave me so much more entertainment. Eddie is he's kind of funny. He had one dog bar moment. Jason had like so many more moments than Eddie ever had. And watching an arrogant jerk who was just hilarious. He's very Drew Christie-like in that way. Watching him humiliate himself multiple times. I didn't even mention that he got voted out with an idol who knew he was on the bottom of the Black Widow Brigade for basically no reason. And that is a hilarious, awesome storyline. And Eric giving up the immunity idol is kind of it's like you were kind of rooting for the guy, so it's kind of hard to watch. It's not great. It's not really great TV. It's more like cringeworthy. Watching Jason Siska go down and make so many hilarious moments is fantastic TV. He's the best TV character out of all the fans.
All right, free for all, go.
All right.
I will point out that I am a woman, so I probably found the Eric thing far more funnier than I should have. But I am ignoring that because aside from that, he is still adorable. And I'm starting to think you have a type. Because I think you said something about an arrogant some arrogant guy a few questions ago.
That's how the questions fell. I couldn't help it. That's what the questions were. I'm not gonna pick like who's best at the game. Like.
Oh, thank God.
That's.
None of the fans are.
I know none of them are.
For that. I think all the fans should come back on one season.
Yeah, so man, it's Jason.
To be
He
honest,
brought more entertainment than either of those two. There's
every single fan, because fans versus favorite seasons suck. So.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. I thought we were going for who was the best player, who is the best fan, and I think in the best player, I think Eddie is better than both, and I think even in entertainment he is better than both because I think he has.
He flirted with Andrea and then said something about dogs.
Yo, who wouldn't flirt with Andrea? Like,
Give me a funny Eddie moment other than the dog bar.
I know Andrea is always the answer.
I gave you like
really don't need it.
I mean,
Andrea is the best fan.
I wouldn't call his entertainment style funny though. That's the thing. Like entertainment could be funny, it could be conflict, and it could be heartwarming. I really liked Eddie going into I was really cheering for Eddie. He was a good underdog. He had a good story arc. It said something to me that, he voted in the minority, I think, 8 times in the season. I'm just guessing.
You're saying he's the best player.
I could get into why that
He is the best player.
I don't care about best player. I don't care.
I could get into why.
No one does.
I could get into so many things why that's actually a good thing for the jury segment, but if we're just talking entertainment, that's fine. We will. I think his story arc is what makes him the best fan of an entertaining character to cheer for. He's obviously not as funny as Jason. He's not as funny as Eric, but he doesn't need to be. It's not always about being funny on Survivor. Like, he's hilarious, we just love him. It's not a comedy show. Survivor isn't it's not, under comedy. It is a reality show watching people. And you know what? I really liked Eddie. I found him relatable as a character. and I think not relatable. That's the wrong word, but his underdog story of trying to overcome
You
what
don't
was
just like
against
him.
No,
I
Focus
like
on Eddie that much. They did not. He was just a side character. What are you talking about? Like the fact, like it's like, oh, I can't believe he survived another trial. They'll get
they're
one
all-
shot of him at the end.
I
How
like
many
Eddie.
confessions
all
did he even
side
get?
characters. All the
Who
fans
cares
are
about
side
that, though? I mean,
Eddie's
just-
not. Eddie, you're saying that comedy. That's the only thing Eddie brought was comedy. You know, that's the only thing that even is good about him.
I'm saying
to
his
be
underdog
fair, he
story.
is really the only solid choice anywhere in Karamoan
Yeah, like
for this
his
question.
story.
So I
is
apologize
guess.
for being different.
You shouldn't have picked someone
Because
from
I really-
Cameron. It's a horrible season.
His story. So is fans versus favorites. Fans versus favorites is shit too.
Yeah,
Actually,
Mike
better than
is pretty
Karamoan.
bad as well.
Yeah, like I
If you
rather watch-
had to pick,
I agree. The best part of Micronesia is Jason Siska. It's so hilarious.
No.
no,
The
it's
best
not.
part is
He's
still
a
Eric.
tool.
All right. We're gonna stop there. Closing statements. We'll start with Heather.
Oh my goodness. Let me try and wrap
Why is
this.
yours the best? Give me as many reasons why they're the best.
Why is mine? I know. I'm just trying to vocalize my own thoughts. Anyways, I actually like all three of these guys in their own special little way. And Ice Cream Guy, that was always my favorite because, oh my goodness, I still remember the day I was watching that, and I really kind of checked out of fans versus favorites. It took me a while to actually get back into watching Survivor since then. Took about a couple seasons. But Eric was like that one guy. I mean, I wasn't there for most of the Jason stuff when I remember. I did rewatch it before you guys were like, oh, I rewatched it since then. But I always remember Eric, and he was pretty much the only guy that I really liked when he came back for Caramoan. Such a shame that he didn't really last that long because of some vague reason that we weren't really given, and that he was hardly a character because Hayes on there. And it's such a shame, really. But like I said, I do like Jason, but I felt like he's not likable. He's a dweeb, which is likable in its own little way. Before I get emails about that. But, like, I know he's not likable because I am friends with Kathy Suckman, and is very, very vocal of his douchebaggery antics. That's the only way I could say that without actually crawling into unsavory language. So that's why I always have to pick Eric on questions like this. It's like the best fan, either that or my ceiling fan, but because it has done me no wrong, and it has never disappointed me. But Eric has never disappointed me either. He has brought it, even when he was a punching bag for women, and he's probably the one person that would probably not be keen on any kind of a movement, but he probably would anyways because he's such a sweet, nice guy that really draws well as well.
All right,
And
Tyler.
I'm done with my rant.
Okay. You see here, I think Heather raised a great point. Best, I think you need to be likable. Jason is not likable. He's not. And you know, you could talk that he's funny and stuff, but that's it. He's a one-trick pony. He's funny. I think Eddie and Eric, they both have some comedic sense, and they're likable guys. What I think edges out Eddie over Eric is, I think Eddie's he's not a total idiot. Like, I think you need some intelligence to be the best. Like you can't, like, Jason and Eric, they're both they're complete morons. Like, you know, and that's something that it doesn't sit well with me. It's like, you could be funny, you could be likable, and you should be smart for the best. Eric's one thing, he's likable. Jason's one thing, he's funny. But Eddie, I think, is a bit more. I feel like Eddie is more of a real person than both of them. I think the other two are kind of just these, like, one-trick ponies, just like I said. And for me, yeah, best, you got to be more than just funny. So explain to me why Jason's more than just funny, and explain to me why Eric's more than just likable. Because in that, they're really nothing. Eddie has a great story arc. You know, he has his funny moments. He, you know, is more complex. Like, you know, he says his flirting thing with Andrea. But I feel like flirting in Survivor is always more fun. I like that because it doesn't happen that much, not like on Big Brother. So I think there's just much more to Eddie than the surface is. I think Jason and Eric are pretty just OTT. What you see is what you get. I think there's a lot more to Eddie. I think his story arc is much more interesting, and that's why he's the best to me.
All right, Josh, finish this up.
What the hell, season? I can understand why you wouldn't want to pay close attention to Kara Moen, but what on earth are you talking about? Eddie didn't get any sort of that much focus. He was just he was a guy who was kind of a douchebag in the beginning who thought oh, let's get the 4. That didn't make him likable. He was like the douchebag wanting to get the pretty people together, and then later on he's kind of like, how does he stay? My closing statements.
If you just steal
my closing statement, Tyler. That's crazy. And then it was kind of funny to see him hang around for a little bit. But what are you talking about? A story arc? He was basically ignored. That's an absolute insanity. And Jason doesn't have to do more than absolutely amazing, hilarious television, because that's way more than anything Eddie ever brought. The only thing Eddie brought was he had that one quote that was funny. I gave you guys about 6, 7, or 8 absolutely amazing, hilarious Jason Sisko moments. You guys barely talked about any of the moments that made your guys good. You barely mentioned anything, any specifics. I gave you so many specifics, and I don't understand. It's way more entertaining to see this happen to Jason than it is to Eric. And my point, you kind of touched on this. Jason had to be toned down based on what I've heard from Kathy Sleckman. So he became, there's so much ridiculousness that's exuding from it. It's absolutely amazing, hilarious television. It's way better than anything Eddie brought. I don't know what the hell you're talking about with he was likable or had a great story arc. That's complete nonsense. And just Jason doing is way better than Eric. And Eric's kind of there, but you don't like seeing that moment. Jason provided so much better television than either of yours, and I didn't hear any specific examples of moments from either of you about what makes your person great.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, we both did.
And there's even more. I didn't even talk about it.
I think we both did.
All right.
We're done.
Down.
So,
Jeez. Silence.
There's no facts in that last one.
Oh my god.
Someone's throwing the facts part of it. They're just going with passion.
Are we okay here?
So we're going with best. I think you all made sort of points and counterpoints as to why either their character was likable, entertaining, funny. You all made points that sort of leveled them all, which was a little bit difficult. So the only thing I had to go on was just the other point that someone made besides that, which was the better player. And the only one who made that case was Tyler.
Oh no!
Now you guys could have argued that he wasn't the better player, but you guys just argued that it wasn't relevant and you didn't care about it.
It has nothing to do with better.
Yeah, it has nothing to do about it.
That's part of it.
Best
Eric
can be
went
whatever.
farther.
Hey, let him talk. Let him talk, people.
So I'm trying to find as many reasons as why they're the best, and I think all of you made very valid points of why Jason is probably the most entertaining or the most funny, and why Eric maybe is the most adorable and likable, and Tyler made points of why he was a very good dynamic character, but also a better player, which is the only way he has one extra that the other two didn't. So I'm going to give it to Tyler.
No one argued me against Eric being adorable.
Well,
no one.
I think Eddie's very attractive. That's
no one did.
Common knowledge. Eddie is very.
What the hell, Susan, were you watching with all this Eddie moments and Eddie story?
Oh,
I don't get it.
Yes.
All right, the people.
He wasn't the best.
David has spoken, so I
You
guess
even said it. He was like, oh, no.
What's the tiebreaker, David?
Jason, because he wasn't a good player, and he's not supposed to be a likable player.
I
think 1.5 points better.
Yeah, they destroy each other.
Yeah, what do we do if
there's a speed round, right?
All right, so we have a tiebreaker between Tyler and Josh. So I have one question. You guys don't know this question. There'll be 2 answers to the question. Whoever shouts out first that I hear first will get their answer of the 2. Then you'll have 30 seconds to make your plea as to why you think your answer should win. Each of you get 30 seconds, then a 15-second rebuttal, and from that, myself and Heather will help me determine which one of you has the better argument to win. So, are you guys ready?
Why not?
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's the tiebreaker question. Who would win in a wrestling match, Skinny Ryan or Lydia?
Lydia.
Skinny Ryan.
All right, you guys both said different ones. I heard Tyler first, so your 30 seconds, Tyler, starts right now.
Skinny Ryan probably weighs 30 pounds soaking wet. Lydia is a short, center of gravity, little Latino woman. They're tough, those Latinos. Like, she'll wrestle around. She probably knows a lot more wrestling moves than Ryan does, and she could probably choke him and stuff like that. So she'd be much more powerful in a wrestling match. She's closer to the center of gravity, probably has much better balance, and would destroy Skinny Ryan in a wrestling match. Not to mention, guys have special
Time.
All right. Well, first of all, have you seen Skinny Ryan lately? Because he is not Skinny Ryan anymore. He would destroy Lydia. He is a bigger guy now, and he, obviously he's much taller and he's bigger. He would destroy Lydia in a wrestling match. She's just like a nice lady, and maybe she's a little feisty. Ryan is a big dude now. He would annihilate her. It's not even going to be close. And obviously he's a man.
Are we going off of them from their season or now?
Didn't specify, so I chose the right answer.
You have 15 seconds.
So I chose the right answer.
This is my rebuttal. Guess
This
what?
is a mess.
Skinny Ryan could still be punched in the balls pretty hard, and then he would be done. And then she could choke him out. She's Latino. She could kill him in a second in a wrestling match. I'm going to put my money on...
Time. All right.
If she punched him in the ball, she would be disqualified, and Skinny Ryan would automatically win the match. So that means that he would win. He has every natural advantage. He's a big dude now. Lydia's a tiny woman. He'd destroy her. It's not even close. If you tried using those dirty tactics, Ryan would win.
Time. All right. Heather, what are your thoughts?
My thought is that you never underestimate a short woman. Being a short woman myself.
All right, but who made the better argument?
Oh my goodness. Wait, what's this? Wait. I was trying to comprehend the absurdity of this question. I know it is.
Comes down to this.
Well, my personal thoughts is Lydia would win, but I like Josh's answer when you take into that Ryan is no longer Skinny Ryan. He is I haven't actually seen the picture of him, but I heard that he is not really Skinny Ryan. He is now pretty not so Skinny Ryan. And I like Tyler's answer a lot too. Let's see if I gotta choose.
So you're not making it easier for me.
I know.
Come on.
I agree. I think you had a really good point, Josh, with Skinny Ryan no longer being skinny, and taking that into consideration, I think I'm going to have to give you the slight edge. So, Josh, you win the tiebreaker in the game.
Well,
Skinny Ryan comes through for me.
This thing was bullshit anyway.
You underestimated him, savage.
We'll never see. Limp noodle.
Bring me this Google Hangout show.
All right.
But thank you guys all for playing. You did a great job.
Thank you. Well,
before we sign off, is there anything you want to plug or promote?
Yes.
Go for it, Heather.
Nope.
I do.
Okay,
Oh, does it have to be Survivor related?
No.
Oh, shoot. If any of you guys like to watch Hell's Kitchen, me and Ben are doing recaps on that. But on Reality TV Warriors, that's all.
All right.
Oh, check out my next book. Oh, wait, shoot. That's Mario.
Watch the season finale of Survivor Kanata. It's on YouTube. It's coming out Monday. I'm still in it. It's going to be great. So, yeah, just watch that. Or if you haven't even started watching it, watch it. It's amazing.
All right. And
if you're in the Orange County area and you need some marketing for your website or copy editing, hit me up.
Yeah, but he'll have really boring ideas. That's.
If you live in Skiatook, why are you still living in Skiatook?
If you're living in Vancouver, let's go get a drink, bro.
V for victory, Tyler. Scoreboard.
I'm still more.
V for victory. You talk so much smack. Gotta put you in your place. A learning lesson.
I still think I'm right. I'm more of a man than you'll ever be.
All right. Thank you guys so much. This is very entertaining. I hope to have all of you back again sometime in the future. stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 weeks for 3 brand new panelists to talk more about Survivor. So thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.